All right, I think we are live. Let me confirm here in my phone. Let's see, where are we?
I'm just saying hello for people who are, because we're already live, and so
you can see that we're live.
I mean, I saw that we were live. There was like a thing that said we were, and so.
Okay, great. Well, then here we go. Oh, so Jean liked our live video. Thank you, Jean. That was very confirming. All right. So anyone who's watching, welcome. Please chime in. Okay, thank you. Yes, you're live. And it comes through to us just saying Facebook users. So if you'd like to identify yourself, I think you have some opportunity to say who you are. Okay, it's Francis, except I always think of you as Elena. But anyway, and Ben says we're live. Okay, welcome everybody. Let's just dive in. Welcome to episode 1. I'm going to be doing interviews like this every Monday, mostly at 11 Pacific, but not necessarily. Ben and Ava are here. Welcome. It's so
Hi,
great.
guys.
It feels like a reunion.
Indeed.
And it also looks like I'm having captions. So great. That is another distraction. So I'm going to turn and focus. Jean and Steve from Montreal, welcome. So glad you're here. So one of the most remarkable things about a conversation with the two of you is that I'm just really having my first conversation with you, Anna. So is it Anna? Anna? Okay. Yeah. So welcome. So what I'm about to say, I have complete conviction applies to Ken, but I also think it applies to you, that you've each lived incredibly fully as individuals, which is what makes your choosing committed togetherness so interesting. And I really want to dive right in there. But for anyone who's watching, who knows this is going to be an absolutely incredible conversation, but doesn't know who you are, I'd love for each of you to introduce yourselves, talking up until the point where you met in the Facebook Live you did. You want to go first, Anna?
No, I'm going to actually have Ken go first. Okay. The real Reader's Digest version of things, because I could go on for a while, because you're right. It was a full life beforehand.
Actually, then I'm going to interrupt and direct you even further.
Great.
I know Ken is familiar, maybe you are too, Anna, with this quote, which I'm not going to say verbatim, but it's basically from Steve Jobs saying that you can only connect the dots in hindsight. Yeah. So will you tell us, rather than like presenting who you are or whatever, connect the dots that are relevant from any time since you were born to this moment here, engaged to this particular man?
So God bless us all. Wow. All right. So suffice to say that I did not grow up in a household or a family that understood, recognized, encouraged, or nurtured or taught like deep connection and caring, loving ways of being. Let's just like start out there. And then on top of that, actually taught the exact opposite. And so I was essentially for a while a person who was dynamic and alive, and I was a hoot and a holler and a wild ride to be around, and super talented. I'm still this person, but I was very focused on getting what it was that I wanted. You know, there are parts of all of us, especially as women, who we get what we want and we seduce and calculate and do all that stuff. And so I was really good at that.
And it's fun.
And it's a lot of fun. And I grew up in Miami in the 80s. So it was like, just a wild ride. And then I moved to New York and pursued, what I pursued and, my career and et cetera, and was in relationships. And then something really large and tragic happened in my family and it ripped a lot of that stuff down. And I found that I needed people, but I didn't know how to need, because that was
Are you willing to give a little more specificity so that we get to feel that?
Yeah, I didn't want to hijack the whole entire call. And so that's why I was sort of leaving it a little vague. But my father...
But then that's where the attention goes.
Yeah. So my father and my brother were both murdered in a gangland style murder about 23 years ago or so. And I was in a fight with my dad at the time. It was a valid fight, but I was in a fight with my dad. And when he died, the thing that I thought and felt at 3 a.m. when I got the call when I was on the road with the show was I had a real instinct to call him and tell him that I loved him that day. And I was like, you can go fuck yourself. I'm not doing that shit. And when I found out that he had died, I was clear in that moment that I loved my father greatly and that I had like withheld love. And then I didn't know what to do with any of that. And I didn't know how to feel love in a way that was not terrifying to me. And so I started from that moment. I had been in therapy and had done a whole bunch of shit beforehand and had been like, doing my thing. But that really started a full on different trajectory of my life. And then I had to figure out how to need people in a way that I didn't end up hating myself for it or was too, like I just had to figure out how to actually be interdependent and need. And that was a long process. And like figuring out who I was inside of being in a relationship with men, with myself, with the world.
How did you know you needed to figure out how to be interdependent? And maybe how is the wrong word, but what had you realize that? Because there are many people, of course, the devastation that you describe is completely unique, and in some way no one else can ever walk the same shoes in your shoes. And there is a universality. Many people have experienced incredible devastation, and they do not conclude from that the next thing is to learn to be interdependent, to be true to oneself, and also need and share love with others. That's not a logical next step.
No.
For most.
No. In fact, in a situation like that, you can go one of two ways. You can get harder or you can get softer. And I got softer. That's genuinely a choice that people make. And it really is a black and white choice. The reason why I made that choice was that I couldn't escape the fact that I loved my father. I had been escaping it my whole childhood. And then I literally, no matter what I tried, no matter how many ways that I tried to like jujitsu or Aikido my way out of that particular fact, I couldn't. And I tried, like I genuinely tried to not be with that fact. And I also had a survival mechanism inside of me where I was like, I wanted to live and I wanted to be alive. And I had a lot of training beforehand of like how to be with feelings. I'd been an actress and a singer and I'd been touring the country and I had like many, 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 many years of like actually being, somehow in my skin to the degree that I could, that it was a default on a certain level. And after he died, I ended up falling in love for the first time with someone where I protected him from the very worst of myself. Like I actually figured out how to protect someone from the worst of myself and not just kill off another human being or kill off the relationship I had. Like whether or not they deserved that defense was besides the point. It was about me recovering my own humanity. And then once that happened, it was, it felt better. I wish I could give you a more like, enlightened reason, but it literally felt.
No, that is the enlightened reason in quotes. And I want to read some of the, I want to include everyone in this conversation. So, Ben says, Ben and Avra here. That's so beautiful. Also recently engaged, totally different context. And Jean and Steve from Montreal. Mark Wentz says, hi all.
Hi, Mark.
Did you ever imagine, Mark, that you'd be sitting listening to this conversation with your buddy Ken Blackman from decades ago? Tara Phillips says, hola from Mexico. Happy to be tuning in here with you all. Welcome. Colleen Suchecki is here. Hi. And Ben says, thanks for sharing the extra depth. Falling in love over here. And Brenda Frederick says, hi, friends. So I think it's been a wonderful amount of sharing. And is there anything, like, I honestly feel like, okay, we know who you are. Is there anything else specific or general that you want people to know before we go further in the conversation? Because people, like, I feel like, okay, thank you for showing your soul. You embody what you say, and it's clear you've had all kinds of professional success, even if we don't know the details.
Yeah, I want to say one thing is that before their deaths, I was in a extreme, like, I don't need anybody, and like very independent, super independent, do my own thing, and everybody can go fuck themselves, but I'm gonna have a good time. And then afterwards, it was, I like needed everybody, and I had relationships that looked like that. And there was something deeply value in going to both extremes and coming to the middle.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Mark says, yes, I always knew it was inevitable. I suppose that's saying something about you, Ken, and something about Mark. And Jack says, great to see you both. Jack Cohen.
Hi, Jack.
Okay, so Ken, tell us about what matters that in who you were when you met Anna.
Yeah.
Or are.
So for me, it's a very poignant question, because recently I've had this thought that everything I've done up till now has been practice for this relationship, which is interesting because, like, I've been in this kind of odd place where I'm a relationship coach who coaches couples, and I'm good at it, right? Like, I'm good at helping couples have this amazing thing, and it literally hasn't been on my radar. I haven't been unhappily single. I've been happily single, and I have had rich connection with women for decades that has never resulted in only here and there. Like, there's been a couple of times where I was in a more conventional coupling, so to speak, but mostly, I'll go back a little bit. I was a software engineer, and really backwards with women. And
would you define backwards with women? Like, I think it's sort of obvious, but it's also a little obtuse.
So I was, I adored women. I put them on a pedestal, but I projected onto them a superficiality. Like, I superficially adored them rather than actually seeing who the person was over there, right? There's a three-dimensional, fully fleshed out, unique, quirky, complex human being over there.
Any woman knows exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I thought that I was one of the good guys because I had women on a pedestal. But the truth is that that was my flavor of misogyny. That, like, I was a good guy syndrome, if people know what that means, misogynist, if people know what that means. And in that sense, that, like, I didn't treat women the way I related. Like if you looked at how I treated women and you looked at how I related with men, you could see the huge difference. Men are like me, they're human beings and I can relate with them and stuff like this. And women, I almost treated like a video game. Like, what's the sequence of maneuvers? Like, I need to learn from the guys who are successful with women what the sequence of moves is that's going to get me to the goal, right? And how dumb I must have thought women were that I thought that I could just pull that off and they would be thrilled with me, right? Like
The end game being penetrative sex, or
having
what?
having an adoring, good-looking, hot young thing who loves having sex with me and thinks I'm amazing. Like whatever it was, like the traditional thing that guys think they want, right? But nothing about actual connection. So, because I didn't actually see a human being over there, right? I didn't actually see a human being over there. So, I had gotten into my 30s and I was just starving for connection. And by the way, like this dichotomy between what I thought I wanted and what I was actually hungry for, right? Like there was a something I needed to learn about myself, about what I actually wanted, right? Like, so I, my path was to learn. I got in with a sex commune whose focus, it was a group of people who lived together and their focus was how to have exquisite gourmet sex.
Okay, Ken, I just want to interrupt. So if somebody is watching, because I think men who have the courage to be honest can relate to what you're saying. Many good men don't have that courage, but among those who do.
Yeah.
So let's say now that you've had this success, someone wants to follow in your footsteps and they want to go find a sex commune to learn how to experience connection. Like, you can't find that in the yellow pages. Not that anyone uses the yellow pages anymore, but like, let's help a listener who's like, oh, what if I want to do that? And feel free to plug yourself. It's fine. But like, that's a real question that would arise.
The biggest kind of awkward conversation I have with men is, I think you're mistaken about what it is that's actually going to make you happy. I think you're mistaken about what it is that you're actually hungry for. Because I, and nearly all the men that I know, have been indoctrinated that the way we're going to experience intimacy and connection is through sex. That's the way we were indoctrinated. So I was constantly looking for sex that looked like a certain thing because I had been told that's the thing that I'm hungry for. So there's a few pieces. You know, if I'm talking to someone who's on this path and wants to find love or wants to find, knows that they have a hunger, is going for this thing, it's not working really well.
Is like pulling the refrigerator door open and seeing what could possibly be appealing.
Yeah. Like, I hope that this is a really hard thing to summarize, because it's a conversation I have on an individual level with individual men who are in whatever spot there is. So it's hard to make it a blanket piece of advice. But I'll say a few things. Number one, what made me unattractive was some beliefs about myself, and there was a lot of things I needed to change about myself that organically made me attractive. And so that meant letting go of what I thought I needed. I'm 5'0". I'm 5 feet tall. Like I don't consider myself, this is changing, but I didn't consider myself physically attractive. I'm certainly not athletic. I'm not charming. I'm not outgoing. So I had my list of things I thought made me hopelessly unattractive. What I discovered was what actually made me unattractive was some beliefs that I had about myself and some beliefs that I had about women. And as I started to feel good about myself, as I started to just like myself as a human being and like myself as a man, and actually start to see another human being over here, all of a sudden I became very attractive in a way that I didn't think was true.
Okay, so I assume all three know that we could go in a million directions and like have a 3-day straight conversation, taking a few naps along the way. And I want to actually just use that moment and pivot specifically because I know you're in your 50s. I know there are hundreds of women who would like to be touched by you in an intimate manner, Ken. And that doesn't mean they want to get married. It doesn't mean they just want the quality of your touch and attention. And you just looked at Anna in talking about coming to understand that you're attractive. So let's just shift into what you're finding. In fact, like it's very tempting to be sequential. How did you meet and all of that? But that's not the kind of conversation we're having. So the question that I like to ask 100% of the time when I'm interviewing couples is based on my absolute conviction that relationship is the greatest vehicle for personal growth. So I'd love to hear, maybe we'll turn to Anna and then come back again, Ken. What have you learned about yourself, Anna, as a result of being in relationship with Ken?
First, I want to say something that when he said that, I got very emotional. Like I got teary eyed and moved. And it's not because, but I love him. So I love this man so much that the idea that he didn't have that for himself, like moved me. And I was like, literally wanted to like, love him.
What's underneath that?
I mean, listen, I had the exact opposite. You know, I was always an attractive woman who was dynamic. I had too much attention in that regard. I've not been a wallflower, and I've not been shy around sex, and I've not been like, you know, I didn't have that. I have been with like my preferences and yada yada and blah blah blah, and the way I see him and the way I have him, you know, the way I see him is he's like, to me, he's a giant of all men. And so when I look at him, I see him. And I think he's incredibly attractive. And I think he's just like, I'm constantly telling him, like he's talking and I'm just like, you're beautiful. Like,
but what is I want to go back underneath if you're willing.
Yeah.
There's something really tender for you, I believe. I don't want to put words on it, but I'm just using that to point to what I want to get at. There's something about loving, finding attractive, totally admiring and appreciating the man to your left, and knowing that he doesn't know that about himself, or not as much or as for as long as you have. That brings something up in you. Do you get what I'm pointing towards?
Yeah, although I'm going to see what exactly it was. It was all of us, I believe. It's all of us, truly, I believe, have spots inside of us that we think are fundamentally, deeply, absolutely unlovable. Don't deserve to be taken in. They're disenfranchised. He has his version. It makes logical sense. I have my version that makes logical sense to me. You have yours. Everybody who's listening has their version. I have access to his heart, and so it touches me deeply to feel the spot in him that thinks, well, that spot doesn't deserve to be loved, and it touches my own spot. And to come back around to the question that you were asking, how has it changed me, is I had gotten very good at loving and accepting, like at a very early age, and then it ratcheted up after my father and my brother's deaths. I had made a deep-seated commitment to myself that I would love and accept all the parts of me that were shattered. I was just going to figure out how to do that. And it's been a lifelong journey and lesson. And there is a particular point in my life where I had done all of the stuff that I could on my own, and then I had to actually do that in relationship, like genuinely in relationship. All the parts that I was like trying to pivot and trying to figure out how to be more, I just had to be like, here I am, all of it. And he, this sounds like one of those like sappy movie things, but he
that's all right.
He literally meets the parts of me that I think are just like, I can't believe I'm going to tell you this, and I can't believe I'm going to tell you that. But because like genuinely authenticity is the thing that's going to lead us to more connection, I have to tell you this thing that's coming up, or I have to tell you this part of myself that's here. And I have to I have a conglomerate in here, and he gets to meet all the different committee members, and he loves me. And then there are times when I go, I actually need you to love me more inside of that spot. And then he steps up. And so how it's changed me is that I'm loved, genuinely being loved and being accepted changes a person from the inside out, like genuinely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ken, what have you learned about yourself as a result of being in relationship with Anna, and specifically in such a committed relationship now?
Yeah. I have, up until this, have mostly chosen a solitary life by choice. I have had, intimate connection with women that was sporadic and fulfilling and wasn't going to be a constant thing. With Anna, the complete surprise was being with someone who, when we were first kind of dating, we would say, well, we're going to have dinner together. And just because of who I am, I would put limits on, like, okay, it's going to end at this time. And I would be like, go back to my solitary self, because that's my way of doing things. And what I found again and again and again is we'd get to the end and I wanted to continue spending time with her. Then we would spend full days together and be sad that it was coming to an end. Then we would spend several days together, and after 3 days, I didn't want this person to leave. I'm happier in her presence than I am with my up till now so cherished solitude. And so, to discover, first of all, that about myself, that's actually a thing,
I love that you laugh.
I know it in other people, and I coach other people in that place, and I just simply didn't know myself in that place.
Did you think you were missing something important, or were you in complete acceptance of that? How radical is this for you to now really feel this way?
It's really incredibly surprising. The weird thing is that I'm a relationship coach, and that I feel like I have a good sense of how relationships work and can coach people. But not everybody is built to be in a relationship, and I just assumed that I wasn't. I wasn't looking for it. I didn't miss it. So it's a complete. It would be more shocking if it didn't simply just feel so right. The balancing of that is my dedication to just going with what feels right, even if it breaks the pattern or doesn't, and so my dedication to that, it's shocking. It's not what I would have expected, but it feels right. So I'm going with it. And that's all the way through us getting together, deciding that we're a couple, deciding that we wanted to be life partners, deciding that we wanted to get married. There's the shock that it's me who's actually going there. But 51% or 75% is, it feels so right that it feels effortless. Do you know what I mean? There hasn't been a whole lot of questioning, or I don't know if I'm ready for this. There's just been following what's right, which is what I always do, right? So, and it's been shockingly, surprisingly right.
That's so beautiful. Okay, so Ben says, quoting you, Anna, genuinely being loved from the inside out changes a person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think for any of us who have had the opportunity to experience that, that's just a truth. It doesn't need any adornment.
Mm-hmm.
So, does anyone watching have questions? Like, this is a really incredible opportunity, and each of you have such big followings. I'm sure if you're watching the replay, feel free to post any questions, and the three of us will respond. And also, if you do right now. My next question is, what do you want to build together?
You go first with that.
After our first few, interactions, one of our first interactions was that we just got on Facebook Live and said, we're kind of getting to know each other, but we're going to have a conversation. But, even in those early conversations, Anna had a sense that there was going to be something, and maybe we're going to work together. Maybe we're going to be in partnership. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, she felt it before.
You've had people assume things about you before.
Yeah. But as I've gotten to know who this person is and gotten to know how, how amazing she is as a human being, like I've taken that on. Like, I have a vision of us working together as teachers, as coaches, creating courses. Like, I can definitely see that. And just like, aside from that, just building a life together. Like, we have decided we love to do life. Like, I just keep saying to her, I love doing life with you. Like, there's these little moments when we're doing the dishes or walking on the beach or something, or we're in the middle of a heated, uncomfortable conversation, and I'm just like, do you have any idea how much I love doing life with you? And so, to co-create, this is something I talk about as a coach, but to co-create a life with another human being, like, what do we want our life to be like? What do we want to create here? And so we're getting cats. In the future, we're getting dogs. We're looking at the place we want to live, but we're doing it together, which is the novel thing for me. Do you know what I mean? After having been so self-sufficient, but we're creating a life together.
That's so beautiful. Did you want to say something on it? Go ahead.
Yeah, I have something. All that is true.
You've been married before.
Yes. I was married, bought the T-shirt, and went on all the rides, and it was what it was. It was great. And I'll answer the question that you asked. So I was never going to get married again unless it was going to be fun and play and joy, because that was like not fun, play, and joy before. But to answer the question about like, what do you both want to create? For me, there's a way in which part of the reason why I never wanted to get married again is because there's a large conversation out there around like surrender and the masculine and the feminine and all of that stuff. And all of that sounds great on paper and in application when I was in relationships, because I've been in relationships since I was married and also before. And it just, the power dynamics that were always in play, the both of us are very independent people. And so the power dynamics that were also always in play, I just was like, and when we got together, there was something about every couple is its own culture with its own language and it's like an island unto itself, and the island that we have is, I don't surrender to him. I surrender with him. Like the both of us are inside of this dynamic that's not about power. Like we both feel more powerful in the relationship, but it's not like something that's about force or topping or bottoming or like surrendering to. It's just none of that shit applies here. And so part of what it is that I want to create is like genuinely want to create is like the language around that. There is a truth out there that women deeply, especially powerful women who are forging their way in the world, like we want to do that, like run the world, but we also want to come back and then like surrender and be deeply ourselves and surrender inside of a relationship. And so how do we do that and have it feel good to ourselves and the other people around us, you know? So that's something that I genuinely want to have as a conversation out there. And then I also, like truly, he's got so much, this man has so much knowledge around like men and sex and how to like have your woman
happy.
Yeah. That's something that I believe firmly should also be out there as well. And so if he needs a woman to talk about it with him, then I'm that fucking woman. So yeah, both of those things.
Okay, fantastic. So Mark asks, is there any fear that comes up about this? How do you deal with any internal calculating thing that manifests as anxiousness?
Oh, I love this question. Are you asking me specific? Oh my God, I want to kiss her.
You bet I am. With a response like that? Yes, I'm asking. He's asking you. I'm gonna say
great because it's so insightful. It's like deeply, deeply insightful about, you know, one of my specialties is like, you know, personality adaptations and et cetera, et cetera. And one of the ways that our self-sabotage and things shows up is in anxiety and then pointing outward and then making the person wrong. So it's so insightful what you're asking about.
And he says the question's for both of you.
Okay, great.
But you take it, Anna, first.
Great. So inside of this relationship, I'm committed, like genuinely committed to set him up to win, even when the part of me that comes up, that's calculating, manipulative, wants to kill off the relationship, even when that part comes up, and it comes up. It's not even just true for me because I've had my past. It's like true in relationships, you know, that part comes up. And when that part comes up, and either he will notice something that's going on, or I will notice something that's going on, I give him, like I make him win with me at least by 51%. At least I give him that 1%.
So really, can you give a recent example, like specifically? Okay, so like take us in there so we can really, you know,
what was one that
milk the wisdom?
Yeah.
Well, we like one or the other of us will have feelings, and we have learned the skill of being able to say what that feeling is without it being accusatory.
Okay, so for example.
All right, I'll give an example. Like this is recently. Okay, so this is an insight into like how we communicate and et cetera, and yada, yada, yada. So we went from, you know, going out and now we're engaged and we're going to get married. And, you know, if you're engaged, there's a whole, I've been through this before. There's a contextual shift that happens when you get engaged, that it's like, not just going out, it's for the rest of your life. It's like that kind of thing, a contextual shift that happens. And suddenly your whole entire relationship gets reworked inside of that lens. And so he and I have been having a lot of come to Jesus conversations because all of a sudden I'm like, and he's like, and he wants to be seen a certain way and I want to be like seen. And so and this is not pretty, but and I've worked on this a lot. And like the other day, do you mind if I share this?
Go for it.
He was saying to me, he was like, there was like a pee under the 20 mattresses sort of feel where he was like, there's something really subtle happening here. And he goes, I know that you like have my back and you love me and you believe in me. But there's this way that I feel like you, like, do you, like, when I coach women, how do you feel about that? And I was like, I looked and I was like, okay, this is the truth, but it's not the truth in capital letters, like stamped on the passport for the rest of our life. Like, this is what's coming up right now. And it's the truth. No, like, I'm just going to, for all the men out there, no, there are entirely too many men out there inserting themselves with like women. There's like a room full of, pardon me, fucking white men in the Capitol making decisions about women's lives. Like there's a way in which you all walk in the world where you just have more power, more say so, more everything, that when you even get on a call, women will all shut up because you're a man. And so, no, get the fuck out of that space. Like you shouldn't be there. And by the way, there's competition. Like those are the kinds of conversations we have, right?
And so for you, Ken, to hear that, do you even a little bit consider withdrawing from coaching women?
No, because
I mean, I knew that was the answer, but this is meant to be a generous conversation.
Yeah. So there's at least two people that I'm relating with in that moment. There's the woman who finally has permission to have those feelings and to say those things to someone who loves her. Like, I opened the door to invite, what are you actually feeling, right? So she had my invitation. I don't mean permission like you're not allowed to say it unless someone gives you permission, but I invited her to speak what's true. And simultaneously there's that. And there was also another part of her that even before she said it, I could feel was there, which is she ended up saying, this is truly how I feel right now, and it's not budging. And I also recognize, like she said, this is actually going to be detrimental for me to be sitting in this resentment and anger towards men. Like, this is something that I need to work through, and it's not going away right now. So I'm being honest about how I feel. And no, I do not think you should be coaching women. And so I simultaneously feel our connection, where she's at, and her honesty, and all of those things get to be there all at the same time.
Yeah. And I want to say something about that, like a caveat, is that I wasn't saying it. I didn't couch it inside of it like you're an idiot for even like, assuming this. I was saying it in the context of, this is actually, you know what it is I'm trying to say. It's like the context of, I'm saying this because I want you to win. I'm saying this because I actually ultimately really don't agree with this. I'm saying this because I don't actually like want to feel this way. And the truth is, I feel this way. And the only way I can get to where I want to feel is if I'm actually fundamentally, like deeply, authentically honest about where I am right now. I can't get to Paris if I'm in denial of the fact that I'm in Poughkeepsie. Do you know what I mean?
And
like, I'm in Poughkeepsie.
And to be seen and accepted there. Like, there was no part of, like, it felt important to her that what she was saying was landing, right? And that she could be seen and felt and have it be understood and felt why she would feel the way she feels. Like, everything that she has said about men is absolutely true, right? And for me to recognize the true validity of what's there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the thing that I enjoy so much is that in order to truly open and receive another person where they are, you have to be solid in yourself. Mm-hmm. And so if you can, not that you ever would in this situation, as I know you, but like if you had taken it personally, or even for a moment considered no longer coaching women because of the current environment and the enlightening around empowerment and inclusivity that is happening in the world now, hopefully, like none of that was ever what the conversation was. And because you didn't take it personally, so much more was possible. And I have other questions for you that don't follow on this thread in a very explicit way, but they kind of do in a super nuanced way. So Ben says such refined distinctions. That was earlier on. And Mark asks, what was the proposal like? What were the circumstances? Did it need to be a grand gesture? And I just want to say the reason I feel like it's not, even though it's externally a pivot, but really isn't, is because that's a place where there can be shoulds and projections and meanings. And it's like, no, this needs to be just really simple. No, this needs to be like, there's all this stuff converging. So what happened?
All right. So this was not a traditional, nothing about this relationship has been traditional. And so the short version is that we were in San Francisco for his birthday. I wanted to take him to San Francisco for his birthday. And we were actually having one of those conversations where, he was like, well, what do you see us and et cetera? And I was like, well, I don't see, like, we were having a little bit of like not a wrestling, it wasn't wrestling, but we were like working through something. And I got seen in a spot. Like I got really seen in a spot. I don't even remember what it was, but we were in bed and I think it was after we had had sex or something. And I had thought about it 5 times. And normally if I think about something like 2 or 3 times, I usually say it on the 3rd time, but this one was a bigger thing. And so I like waited until 5 times. And finally it was so large. It was so in the room, like an elephant or an alien on my face, that I was like, I have to say this thing. You don't have to answer. I don't even care. But will you marry me and spend the rest of your life with me? I like adore you. And he just, well,
I thought for a second and I said, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then the next morning we were like, did that actually happen? And we checked in, like, do we actually, we can just let that be a moment, or we can actually, like, how do we actually feel about it the next day, so to speak. And we were both clear that it was like, no, that was a reflection of how we actually feel. We really do want to get married.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you didn't want to tell anyone for a little while. What was happening there, Ken?
I don't think I can even answer that question.
I love when I ask a question you can't answer because you are so expressive in so many ways. Okay.
I have a dedication to say everything that I can, and that's not something I feel comfortable talking about.
There was nobody else. There was nothing like that. It was like, I don't
have any. Yeah. Oh, okay. So
I don't want to leave people with some like odd.
Whatever the two of you were thinking or imagining. My question, I'll tell you what my question was. There's something in how we relate to what is true and real and deeply felt that is between like me and that knowing. And then there's something about me and another person I share it with. And there's a way in which my relationship to what's real, it's not the same when more people know it. It's not any less real, but it's just a different experience. And so I wondered, like, that's where my question came from. So I don't know what the two of you were imagining, but like it has to do with your relationship to what's real, the same way the 5th time you needed to say it, Anna. So I'm not looking for you to go back and answer the question. I'm just telling you that's what I was asking.
Okay. I can say this. This is going to leave as much mystery as is already here, but there is one more thing that I can maybe say, which is that there was an agreement that we had that felt like it needed to be brought to completion, and not publicly talking about our marriage until that came to completion felt like something that was in integrity.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
So
it's really mysterious.
It's only mysterious if you know all the details.
Yeah.
It's not that different from how the two of you speak regularly.
Yeah.
So if someone just wants more, what is the way to follow each of you, either just to like be in your field and hear what you share, to see wedding pictures if that's something that gets shown, or somebody is looking for empowerment coaching or relationship and intimacy coaching. Ken, how do we find you?
KenBlackman.com.
You can go to my YouTube channel. You can certainly friend me on Facebook. You can go to my YouTube channel, which just plug in my name and Disorderly Conducts, and also my website, AD Life Design.
Okay, fantastic. And have the two of you ever been interviewed together before?
No. And I am thrilled that you, and kind of honored actually, that you chose us as the inaugural call for you. So I didn't know that. And so, wow, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And Mark says sending love. That's so good. So is there any question that the two of you, either talking with one another or your own minds, were hoping you'd be asked? Is there any way in which this conversation feels incomplete to either of you? Because if so, let's ask it.
No, there's one thought I did have. It's about, I don't know why I thought about this, but
Okay, then that's what I was feeling. Go ahead.
I don't know who I'm even speaking to, or if it's about, I don't know. But there's a way in which sometimes relationships, if I'm like looking at people who are in relationship and they have something that I wanted, that I would somehow feel badly about myself somehow, or I needed to be. And the thing that worked about he and I want people to understand this, or women to understand this, or whatever. I don't fucking know. I'm just going to say the thing is that what worked with us was that I was deeply, authentically myself ongoing. That's what actually works. And I, for some reason, want that to be said again, where, especially for women, sometimes we feel like we have to be something else or do something else or look a certain way or act a certain way. And no, just be deeply you in a way that's like respectful of you and with another human being. I don't know why I want to say that, but that's what I want to say.
Okay, well, it really resonates for me. And I don't know if you know, the name of my book is Uncompromising Intimacy. And I say often that far and away the most common advice given for people wanting success in relationships, particularly marriage, is that you need to learn to compromise. If you want a happy marriage, you have to be good at compromise. And your relationship is an illustration of that not being true. Mine certainly is. And I coach based on that truth, and I know Ken does too, and it's clear you do too, that compromise numbs people, and authenticity and being uncompromising is what creates sparks, passion, innovative connection, and really deep, meaningful relationship without any kind of burden of shoulds. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad you said that. It's a thing that's inferred from every moment of this conversation, and there's a real benefit to being explicit as you just were. And I want to add that Elena says, yes, I feel like there were more questions, but I don't know what to ask. I feel like in my current relationship, I've been given permission to find myself and learn who I am. I've become more authentic in our container. Elena, that is so beautiful. It is exactly why I asked this question. What have you learned about yourself through being in relationship? Because I think often people will think, oh, what have I learned about my partner? And what have we been able to do together? And those are both fantastic, fantastic things. But the real forward momentum is to have your eye on what you're learning about yourself through being in relationships. So I love that that's what you're experiencing, Elena. And I'm pretty sure Anna and Ken would agree that there's never a rush with reality or truth. And so if you think of a question later, just post it later.
Absolutely.
And we'll connect at that time.
Thank you. This is the first time I'm meeting you, and I've felt nothing but enthusiasm and excitement about like you and your posts and just like who you are as a human being. And it's just been a pleasure to get to spend time with you and to feel you feeling me and us. And so thank you.
Thank you. What a treat. And I think we'll have to do it again. So
Love to.
Love to.
thank you for being here.
Bye.